The lights of BravoCon had barely cooled when Tamra Judge ignited a firestorm that no one saw coming, yet everyone secretly hoped for. It wasn't just shade. It wasn't just drama. It was a full-blown explosion of truth, resentment, and 15 years of unresolved battles bursting back into the spotlight. And the moment Tamra opened her mouth, the entire Bravo fandom leaned in, waiting, no, craving, to hear the next jaw-dropping revelation. Tamra walked onto the Bravo stage with a confidence that felt almost dangerous. The kind of confidence that made you think she didn't come here to play. She came here to end someone's storyline. And within seconds, she did exactly that. Gretchen Rossi's name wasn't just mentioned. It was dismantled, dissected, and thrown back into the Bravo universe with a force that made the audience gasp louder than they had all weekend. The first blow came when Tamra accused Gretchen of doing the one thing Tamra claims she'll never tolerate: lying. Not just casual lying, but making up rumors, rewriting history, and carrying a level of resentment that Tamra said she could no longer pretend didn't exist. And when she was asked if she believed Gretchen and Jennifer Pedranti genuinely wanted peace, Tamra's response sliced through the air like a blade dipped in truth serum. "I can do that," she said calmly, "but I don't know that Gretchen can." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Gretchen's still fighting about things from 15 years ago, things I have no interest in anymore." The crowd murmured, but Tamra wasn't done. "And when you're lying and making up rumors and having this hatred toward the community, I can't stand for it." That line hit like a bomb. The room stiffened, fans clutched their drinks. You could feel the energy shift as Tamra made it clear this wasn't just drama. This was a moral line she was drawing in permanent ink. Then came the moment that truly shook the room. Gretchen had told reporters she believed she and Tamra would eventually be okay. Tamra didn't blink. "We will not." The tone wasn't angry, it was final. Cold. Absolute. "She wants to save her job," Tamra added, and suddenly the subtext became text. Tamra wasn't just accusing Gretchen of lying, she was accusing her of pretending, playing nice for the cameras, smiling for Bravo, fighting for relevance. "There's no room in my life for her," she continued. "Not for somebody with her beliefs." As the interview clips began spreading across social media like wildfire, another bombshell hit, this time from the outside world. Jennifer Lawrence, yes, that Jennifer Lawrence, had called Tamra toxic. For most Housewife cast members, that comment would have ended the conversation. But Tamra? She walked straight into the storm. She addressed it head-on. "I'm actually one of the most successful housewives on my cast," she said, her voice steady, almost weary. "So I'm doing something right, Jennifer Lawrence." The crowd erupted. Tamra didn't gloat. She didn't snap back. But she made sure her point landed with the precision of a dart hitting a bullseye. "It was unfortunate that she said that," she added. "I looked up to her, and I just think you don't know me. I'm on a reality show. There's a lot people don't see. I'm sorry she feels that way." The humility caught fans off guard. The vulnerability hit a nerve. For the first time all weekend, the audience stopped cheering and actually listened. But the drama was far from over. Tamra sat down with Page Six's virtual reality next, where she delivered what many consider the most brutal assessment yet of her relationship with Gretchen. "We are two people that cannot be in the same room," she said simply. She explained that she really tried to move on during filming. But according to Tamra, every time she extended an olive branch, Gretchen returned with another allegation, another story, another lie. "There's no room on the show for somebody like that," Tamra said. "You have to be open, honest. You can't create lies and blame other things on other people. It's not for me." Whether the audience agreed or disagreed, they couldn't deny one thing. Tamra was not sugarcoating anything. And just when everyone thought the interviews were done, Tamra took the BravoCon stage one last time, this time addressing the rumors that have followed her for years. The ones she said hurt the most. "I think people think I'm just this big villain that doesn't have a heart," she admitted. "And I do. I promise you, I do." She paused, her voice tightening. "There's stories out there that my children don't speak to me. No, they do. We're all good, and it's really hard when the kids are brought into things." The room went silent. Not reality TV silent, real silent. Then, with the same fiery honesty she's been known for since the moment she stepped onto Real Housewives of Orange County, she ended the weekend with a revelation that summed up exactly who she is. Yes, on the show, I'm the villain. I stir the pot, absolutely, and I do my job and I take it seriously. But I don't make up stories, I don't lie. That's when the twist clicked for fans. Tamra wasn't trying to convince people she was innocent. She was saying she was real, something she doesn't believe Gretchen has ever been. But while Tamra's final declaration echoed through the halls of BravoCon, the conversation online was only beginning. Fans weren't just reacting, they were choosing sides, dissecting every detail, replaying every interview clip like detectives trying to solve a case with no clean answers. And the deeper they searched, the more one truth became unavoidable. This feud wasn't simply about old wounds. It was about two women who once stood shoulder to shoulder on reality TV, now living in opposite universes. The internet exploded overnight, with theories rushing in from every corner of the Housewives fandom. Some insisted Tamra was defending herself after years of being painted as the troublemaker. Others argued that Gretchen's long-held grudges were resurfacing in ways that finally exposed the truth Tamra had been hinting at for over a decade. And then there were those who believed, desperately hoped, that the two would someday settle their differences. But after BravoCon 2025, that hope felt like a distant daydream fading into the dark. Which is exactly what made Tamra's next revelation so shocking. When asked again if filming next season would force her to sit down with Gretchen, Tamra didn't even blink. "There's no scenario where that happens," she said plainly. "I don't need closure with someone who keeps rewriting history." It was a line that froze the internet. Because for years, fans had assumed that every feud, no matter how ugly, would eventually lead to a forced sit-down, a Bravo-mandated truce, or at least a thickly veiled attempt at civility during a reunion. But Tamra wasn't offering that, not this time, not with Gretchen. And for the first time, fans felt the weight of what that truly meant. Tamra wasn't angry anymore. She was done, completely, fully, permanently done. Yet what made her stance even more compelling was how she explained the emotional cost behind it. She didn't hide from it. She didn't laugh it off with a catchy tagline. She faced it head-on, the way only a housewife who's survived over a decade of storytelling warfare can. She admitted the toll of being labeled the perpetual villain, the toll of constantly defending her parenting, the toll of every rumor that tried and failed to break her spirit. She acknowledged that the villain narrative was part of her role, but not the whole of who she was. And for the first time in years, the audience saw the human beneath the headlines. Her voice cracked slightly when she said, "I have a heart. I'm a mom, and I've lived through things people don't even know about. So when someone brings my kids into it, that's where I draw the line." The rawness of that moment lingered. It softened the edges of the chaos. It reminded fans why Tamra remains one of the most watched, most debated, most unshakable women in Housewives history. But dramatic empathy doesn't erase dramatic tension. So when she transitioned right back into addressing Jennifer Lawrence's comment, fans leaned forward again, knowing Tamra would deliver the kind of honesty that BravoCon thrives on. She acknowledged her disappointment, her surprise, her confusion, but she also delivered a message that felt like it came straight from the core of who she is. "You don't know me," she said. "You only see the version of me edited for TV, and that's fine. But don't call me toxic when you've never been in a room with me. Ever." It was bold. It was vulnerable. It was classic Tamra, and it sealed her BravoCon legacy in a way no one expected. Meanwhile, Gretchen's silence grew louder. Fans waited for her response, some rooting for her, others bracing for impact. But the silence spoke volumes. Whether carefully planned, emotionally heavy, or simply delayed, the lack of response only made Tamra's narrative even stronger, more believable, more rooted in finality. As crowds emptied out of BravoCon, one thing was clear. This wasn't the end of a chapter. This was the beginning of a new war, a war where the battlefield wasn't just the show, but the truth. A war where alliances would shift, storylines would fracture, and friendships once thought unbreakable would be tested in ways no one could predict. Tamra Judge walked out of BravoCon not as the villain she's often labeled, but as a woman reclaiming her voice, her truth, and her boundaries. And whether you love her or hate her, one thing is undeniable. She just set the stage for one of the most explosive seasons in Real Housewives history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the BravoCon drama, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next storyline breaking across Bravo Nation is even more shocking, and you won't want to miss what comes next.